one of the most horrific things you can do.
His life was taken in a senseless and brutal manner.
Horrific crimes left unsolved.
You know, you have a lot of different scenarios run through your head. Could it be this person? Could it be that person?
And families forever changed.
I was 13 when my mom passed away.
Just come and tell me what happened to my son. That's all I want to know.
We're sharing these stories hoping you can help us solve this unfinished business.
Any cold case can be solved. No one's perfect.
In this episode, we look back at the case of Marie Porter, a chilling crime that still lingers in the collective memory of the city of Tampa. So we're going back decades here to the year 1983. A woman in her 40s, Marie Porter, a wife here in Tampa. Quite frankly, a very horrific, brutal crime took place against her. Can you take me back to the day it happened and give me an idea of what happened there?
Well, let's start on December 18th of that year. She came home from work about 8 o'clock. She got a ride home from a friend. She went to friends of the families, to go over there for dinner, which is adjacent property. They lived on a big orange grove lot. There was only a few houses. She was there till about 9:30. She left her friend's house, went home. She was married. Around the time of incident, her husband was actually in the hospital, and he was not at home at that time. They had no children. They had a dog, and she went home and was just going home to go to bed. About 4:45 in the morning, the same neighbors that she ate dinner with heard a knock on the door. They opened the door. There is Miss Porter. She's covered in blood. She's screaming for help. She said that she was just sexually assaulted and then brutally assaulted. Within a couple seconds, she passed out. They called EMS. They transported her to the hospital, and unfortunately, she succumbed to her injuries.
As you mentioned, that's a pretty horrific crime. The witnesses that saw that, how helpful was that? I mean, it's been decades now, and we still don't have any person of interest in this case. What are you looking for? How do we solve this?
A case like this, now that we're 40 years past, there was only a few witnesses at the time. Those individuals are unfortunately deceased. This is more of a forensic side of an investigation using FDLE and private labs, and that's what the phase we're at right now. Fortunately for the criminal investigative side, there was a lot of evidence recovered on the scene. The crime scene techs back then did a hell of a job. The detectives did a great job, and we took a lot of evidence in.
Can we talk a little bit about that evidence? While we might not have a person of interest, there is something that recently came up with this case due to the evidence that was on scene that might be pointing you in the right direction. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. There are two samples that we recovered from two different items at the crime scene originally that have been processed by FDLE the last couple of years. And we do have two samples where they were able to develop a DNA profile, and we have two individuals. At this time, we don't know who the individuals are. They have not, what we call, matched up in the CODIS system, which is a national database for DNA. And at this time, we have profiles, but we just have not matched them to any individuals yet. But there are two profiles that we have associated with the crime.
And I think a lot of people would be wondering, how do you go about, once you do have that evidence and you have those samples, how do you go about starting to test that? I mean, that's a lot of different people that could potentially be.
Well, in most TV shows and most real-life criminal investigations, the labs don't get the respect that they deserve. FDLE is a phenomenal asset to have. They bust their butts over there. And really, this case is stemming on what they're doing and the work they're doing. We're assisting them on what they're able to locate. So once a profile is identified, or we have a profile and it's not identified, we don't know who it is yet, there are other phases of forensic testing. We can take those if we have enough sample left, and we can do what's called forensic FGG, forensic genetic genealogy, which then that's a different side of testing where we can create kind of a family tree from those, and that's probably where we are right now with those two samples. And then you'll get multiple people back from that individual's family tree, and then there's a lot of legwork as the investigator to do that. So that's where we're at with that side.
And especially with
Marie's case. I mean, just going back to just the brutalness of it and the tragedy of it all, being able to solve something like this, hopefully soon, what would that mean for you and for the whole team that's been working on this for decades?
Well, as it's almost a repetitive statement. We're here for the victims, even though they're no longer here. If they have living relatives, we're here for the relatives. Even if there's nobody left, we're here for just them anyways. It's our job. That's why we do it. No, none of us make millions of dollars doing these things. Any part of law enforcement, we do it because we had a calling and we want to help. Even if we can't help somebody that's alive, we can still bring some closure to the case and hopefully bring the person that was responsible, persons that are responsible, to justice.
These cases aren't just stories, they're real lives and real people. Your voice could be the missing piece in this puzzle. If you have information on this case or any other, please contact the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office at 813-247-8200. To submit a tip anonymously, call Crime Stoppers of Tampa Bay. Join us next time as we continue our journey to uncover the truth and bring these families the closure they have been waiting for. Until then, stay vigilant and keep seeking justice for these families. Unfinished business.